So first of all, I'd like to thank Oz for the loan of his space for this meeting. It's been such a great place for the third-party viewer developers to meet. We thought we would take advantage of it. And with that being said, he does have a meeting here starting at noon, so we're going to try and make sure that we're cleared out before that's done. It's great to see so many people here. We're really excited about this feature, and we know there are some concerns, and we want to make sure that we hear all of them and address the ones that we are able to in the near future, and possibly there may be some that will have to wait, or there are other resolutions too. So what I want to do is find out if there's anyone here who has not tried VMM. So people have not tried one item at all to migrate? Okay. So I'm going to go over a little bit of how it works and talk to you about some of the decision-making process, and then I'd mainly like to focus on people who have experienced VMM and get feedback from them on the process and how it's working for them, and then we can deal with high-level concerns. That's great to hear. So what we had been doing with direct delivery is having people put items into a merchant outbox, which sent inventory items to the marketplace, and merchants would then list those items, and those items would get delivered to their customers in Inworld. With Viewer Managed Marketplace, we are getting rid of an extra step. And I'm hearing an echo. So we're removing that extra step, and we are allowing deliveries to occur directly from the merchant's inventory. When we talked to users to get feedback, they indicated that they were... Okay, I'm still hearing some echo here. Looks like, Sweetie, you've got your voice open. Hello, testing. Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. It's hard to, when you hear yourself a few seconds later, you're like, wait, what's going on? Anyway, so we wanted to streamline this process. Many of the merchants we talked to are storing copies of the items that they're selling for the marketplace in their inventory. Some of them are doing this in box form due to concerns over inventory sizes. And one of the things that we did do is we spent a lot of time talking to our internal groups that have worked on and maintained large inventories for some of our customers to evaluate whether or not there was risk involved with increasing the size of some existing inventories. And the feedback that we got from them is the problems are not necessarily with just large inventories. They are with situations where somebody has 10,000 folders or objects at the root of a folder. Now, there are a handful of people on the marketplace who have this many listings, not quite that many listings in their store, but and we'll be working with them to help them, make sure that old listings that are no longer in use get deleted. One of the things that we changed with direct delivery is we made it much easier to delete listings. So now if you want to delete a direct delivery listing, it will put your inventory back into your unassociated items folder so you can return it to yourself in Inworld. And that's from feedback that we also got from merchants about the ability to delete listings because their number of listings were getting rather large on the marketplace. One additional thing that we also did as part of Viewer Managed Marketplace is we got a lot of feedback from more customers than merchants, but some from merchants that when an item runs out of stock, it needs to be removed from the marketplace. When the marketplace was originally set up, there weren't readables and things like that oftentimes had only one unit for reselling. And so the use case was I have a bunch of items that I am selling that are limited stock. And when it runs out, I want my listing to stay up until I'm able to restock it. Well, that changed. And so we have changed the behavior in Viewer Managed Marketplace to unlist items that run out of stock. We basically tried to fit in related issues that made sense with the change to VMM. And one of the things that we also did is we met with some merchants to talk about versions and how they want to manage those versions and how they typically manage them in their inventory. And we worked to create a hierarchy in the Viewer Managed Marketplace to support the ability to store more than one version under a listing and choose which one is the current active one. So that's a high-level overview with some of the thinking and some of the problems we tried to address while we were working on Viewer Managed Marketplace. And so those of you who have tried Viewer Managed Marketplace, are there questions or concerns or feedback that you have for us? And you can either type it in. Actually, if you want to speak, I can just call on you if you type in. Might get a little crazy trying to have everybody talk. So why the sudden change when the merchant outbox is working fine? So the merchant outbox isn't quote unquote working fine for everybody. And the merchant outbox also does not support the group of merchants who sell items that they do not have copyrights on. So if I buy like an animation from somebody else, it's no copy for me. I include it in one of my avatars. Now, I am not able to copy that avatar. In order to sell those, we had to make some changes to the way that direct delivery worked. And because we were going in to do this, we looked at the problems and feedback that we had gotten on direct delivery and made some improvements there. Overall, the number of times that you move something between systems or people, the greater the risk of there being some kind of problem. And so we really wanted to minimize that. There are some people who've had their merchant outboxes stuck initializing. They haven't been able to put things on the marketplace. And that's something that our support team is able to help with. But this is the kind of thing that we wanted to address. Yeah. So I'm going to move on to the next question. If you have follow-up questions, please put them in. So Shane asks, can you confirm the exact timeline before auto migration starts so we know how long we have to migrate ourselves if we wish? So we're trying not to give exact dates because one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we have time to address any bugs or issues that come up before we start moving everybody. And so we will not be officially launching into production until the viewer is the released viewer. And we're planning to put the viewer into the release process hopefully in the next week or two. We're working on getting the updates localized, and so however long that takes, and you all know it can take a month or so to get a new viewer out. And so at that point, we will launch to production, and we're planning to have users in production for probably about a month. Give them a chance to start moving things over manually if they would like to. We are going to be getting some volunteers who will let us migrate them early on, and we may even want to migrate a couple of them during the beta period. We've already started testing migrations for some of our internal test accounts. And once we've done those tests and fixed any issues that come up, then we'll begin the automated migration process. For very large stores, we don't have an exact number yet, but a few thousand or more listings. If people are premium members, we're going to be allowing them to work with us to schedule like a night where we can do the migration. We're going to do most of the migrations overnight Pacific time because that's when our lowest traffic is on the marketplace, and other people will get who aren't scheduled will get an email that at the start of the migration with an estimate of how long we think it's going to take for your store. We're trying to be conservative. And then an email at the end of the migration letting you know that the migration is complete. During the migration process, your stores will not be available because there's just so much risk for things to get messed up if we try to support that. We expect it to be milliseconds per listing, so or 500 milliseconds at the most. So hopefully that answered that question. Okay, I am not following along in chat because I'm trying to focus on questions. So I'm just getting caught up right now. So Cynthia asked, while transferring from the old system to the new listings don't automatically activate, that they have to be listed even though it says active. Cynthia, if you are seeing this, please file a VMM JIRA. There are some corner cases where we have had some communication problems between the viewer and the marketplace that we were making sure that we cover. And it looks like Kurt just answered your question. Let's see. Sonia looking for the magic migrate button. Let's see. Kraft asks, will it be possible to allow customers to get updated versions of a product they've already bought? Yeah, I saw at Kraft, I don't know if you're the one who asked for this as a new feature in the VMM JIRAs or not, but it's a really great idea, and we would love to be able to support something like this, but it is not anywhere on the horizon for what we can do for our marketplace right now. As people have mentioned, we have quite a few issues that we're still working to address on the marketplace so that there aren't errors with search results or being able to list something in the marketplace. And so those items have been prioritized much higher. Once we get through the list of those kinds of items, then we'll be evaluating if it makes sense to add features like that. But it is a really great idea. Okay. Shane, reason for my interest. Okay, I'm not sure I fully understand Shane's comment. The reason for my interest in the question was since DD, I've not held exact folder names that match my MP folders. Is there concern over when they get migrated? Okay. So the way that migration occurs is the folder names come from the inventory names on the marketplace. Does that answer your question? Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question, so let me know if I didn't address that. Manual migration will have to be done one at a time, unfortunately. And for Magic Boxes, I mean, part of it is because of the way Magic Boxes are set up. We will be automatically migrating all direct delivery listings unless you have migrated them first. Yes, Steve Void, please file a support ticket if your Outbox is stuck initializing. We've also been, the support team has been, well, I've been monitoring the forums and pushing any stuck boxes I see on the forums to support as well. Yes, so Elizabeth, I got your. It's a great idea to support updates of versions, but we are not there yet. Customer self-redelivery. Yes, and that is a SASE allowing customer self-redelivery is something that we've heard a lot from our users, and that is on the list of things that we're considering in the future. What plans have you to prevent abuse of this system? I guess that depends on what you mean in particular, what thoughts you have about what you think the risks are for abuse, because I'm not going to volunteer any that we've thought of. Okay. SASE database lookup on the product page. Have I bought this before? If yes, send product. Yeah. Yeah, we can. Definitely on the list. Going down. Doesn't it make... Sweet, are you saying doesn't it make their own folders when it migrates? So when you copy an item or a set of items... Okay. But this is a point that's actually worth bringing up. When you do move something into Viewer Manage Marketplace, it's going to automatically create some items for you. Some folders for you. And it'll create a listing folder and then a version folder. And if you have no copy items to you as the merchant, it's going to create a stock folder with all the stock units underneath. And we try to be smart about folder names, but you are more than welcome to create your own hierarchy and move it over. And as long as it matches the one that we're using. Oh, great. I'm glad Kurt fixed you. Still catching up. abuse. Some really cool no copy item, then you run out of stock, just fill out the folder with garbage and keep selling. So yes, we do have some checks in place to prevent this, but we can't do much more than what's already been done with magic boxes. And so it's something that we're going to still be somewhat dependent upon customers to report and help us police. Is there any risk of switching over to VMM stock at the moment? I shifted over some of my less frequently purchased items, but my main stock, I'm still using DD. Everything seems a bit glitchy. Do you feel the system, even in its current state, is stable enough to safely migrate our stock now? Yes. The reason that we're calling this beta is because there may be some corner cases with respect to user experience on the merchant side that maybe we haven't caught, maybe some errors that we're not throwing correctly. We thoroughly tested delivery and stock unit counts, etc., before doing this. And honestly, part of the reason that it's taken us a little while to get this out is because we really wanted to make sure we had our stock unit accounting correct. Shane says, could you revisit this question of folders? Do merchants require their inventory? I think Shane... so Shane, you don't need to create all the folders yourself. If you want to just move items into VMM, it will create the correct folder hierarchy for you. But if you want control over what those folders are and you already have some naming conventions set up that you want to make sure you keep, you can create them yourself. Okay, there is a glitch with the folder naming system. So that's something that that we should be addressing then. What is the major advantage of VMM? Well, the major advantage is that we will now be able to get rid of magic boxes, which for those merchants who still use them have over their lifetime just been performing less and less well. Part of the problem with creating a system that doesn't have an easy way to access internal APIs, etc., is that it's just going to be a little bit less stable, and so we're moving forward with that. The other aspect of it that is very helpful is the architecture means that there are going to be fewer moves of inventory between users, and this is better for everyone. So they will, basically every time you move something between inventory accounts, you're increasing the risk for a mistake. And so we've removed one of those hops, and that will make it better for everyone. Is the version control similar to Git in a sense? So where the customer can access multiple versions. If you want to think of it that way, it is. It's really up to you how you use it. So you can have a listing with multiple version folders under it or not. You can just keep the most current version folder under it. If you have more than one version folder, it's really easy to switch back and forth between them. If you're new to having a store on the marketplace, I would suggest you just start using Viewer Managed Marketplace and don't worry about learning direct delivery. So Sassy is asking about the abuse thing. You ask customers to help police, but then LL so often responds, "This is just a user-to-user issue and won't get involved. Could you revisit your answer?" So to some degree, that is the case. We do our best to help resolve situations like that, but in some cases, we are limited in what we can do. If there are specific cases that are problematic, like a scenario that you have, perhaps there's something that we missed in a case, but it's basically the way that we have sort of set up our system to do the best for the customers and for the merchants, and it's all a balance. Let's see. So I've got another question. The main issue for most merchants isn't inventory management, but listing management. And that's from Ray, or Chin Ray. So we did make some listing management improvements, but not significant ones. And we definitely have some items in our list of requests from users, and as we're able to address them after fixing other issues, we will evaluate those. Okay. Steve Boyd, if a new version is added, will the previous customers receive the new version automatically? Unfortunately, no. Will there be a better way of reporting scammers that get dealt with faster, such as the empty box scams? We have not looked at that. Perhaps this is an opportunity where we need to take another look at that. Sarah, well, we are supporting bulk deletions in VMM, but we aren't for direct delivery, and that's due to great technical cost. So going forward with VMM, life will be better, still will be painful with direct delivery. Do I need to be in the beta test group to start my MP shop with VMM? Right now you do. We're going to be doing a marketplace release soon, and we will be opening it up to everybody. It's probably going to be next week or the following week. Okay, sweet. That's some good feedback. I can follow up on that. Chin Ray now asks a question. There are quite a lot of old passive merchants, people who were active back in the Magic Boxes day and no longer check or hardly ever check. What will happen to their listings, and do you have any idea how big percentage of the marketplace listings that is? We don't have an idea of how large a percentage of the marketplace listings that is, but people who have Magic Box listings will basically, if their inventory will still be Inworld in their Magic Boxes, but their listings will no longer work if they don't go through the manual migration process. One of the things that happened when people migrated from Magic Boxes to direct delivery is we saw some old merchants get, some of their items get cleaned up. And so that was, they will auto-enlist. The listings will auto-enlist once we're no longer supporting Magic Boxes. Let's see. Okay, so it seems like the barrage of questions has stopped. If I haven't answered questions, please let me know. And I did specifically request that questions come from people who have tried the system. Are there concerns from people who have not tried the system that have not already come up? Okay, I've got a new question. Will items automatically be put in the right categories? I was flagged a couple of times for listing in the wrong category. If only we could read your minds, we would be able to put items in the right category. And, you know, honestly, if we could read your minds, everything would be so much easier. I know. Okay, Sassy. There's so many places I could go with that comment about treating people as adults, but I won't go there. We are we do have some work going on with respect to the adult filters, and that's yet another one of those things that has plagued us for a long time, and we have to take some time to fix it because it's expensive when we have to add new words and it has unanticipated effects. So one of the things that we've done is we have decided that we're going to limit the number of new words we add to, to ones that really need to be in there. But that's the best we can do right now. Yep. Let's see. Are we encouraging manual migration? Do you think that is in your best interest? I think it's entirely up to you. In the past, we have had merchants who really want that level of control over their stores, and we're happy to provide it. My store was already manually migrated with my one item, so I would. We're testing it. We're asking for volunteers. By the time we have rolled out to everyone, we will hopefully have caught any unusual cases that merchants somehow manage to figure out how to do, and we expect not to have significant issues, and we'll be monitoring them with our engineers, and if there is something that we need to address, we will. One thing to note is that if there's any problem, we will cancel the migration, and your store will remain in direct delivery until we have a chance to look at it. Will inventory maintenance affect VMM deliveries? Yes, it will. Inventory maintenance already affects direct delivery deliveries. Will there be an option to include product photos and inventory for the listings? That's a great idea. It is not planned. I have a somewhat abstract question from Elizabeth. I've noticed certain keywords for certain listing. She would like us to share our list of bad words. Yes, that is something that you all can figure out, but unfortunately, we're unable to share those with you. Yes, sweet. We will be definitely talking to you about your 9,100 plus items. So don't worry. Sassy, I'm not. You mean roll back after we've completed a migration if there's a problem? So, individual stores. Still not sure what you're asking. Possibly. Let's say we screw up. Stopping for everyone else is helpful, but what about suites? Well, so if, for example, we migrated suites and there was some problem and we did not complete the migration, we would address that before we tried to migrate again. If there was an unexpected problem and the migration completed, we would work to resolve that as quickly as possible. And we continue to use the DD if we don't have the LL viewer. Nope, everybody has to migrate. And we've been working closely with third-party viewer developers to make sure that they know what our schedule is. And Jessica actually is having Shakat, if I'm saying that correctly, help us out by recording this. And it's been really great to get feedback from the third-party viewer developers and give them as much information as we can about timelines. So they will. There we go. Jessica's chiming in. So question about rolling back DD to DD temporarily right away if the merchant migration goes wrong for merchant. I mean, basically, if the migration goes wrong, we will not complete it. And if it completes and there is some rare issue that we have to deal with, we will fix it as soon as, like immediately, basically. Let's see. So, a question about will auto migrate work the same on TPVs, or will TPV users need to use the LL viewer to migrate? So once the TPV viewers support the functionality that the Linden Lab viewer supports, I would imagine that would be possible, but it's going to be a case-by-case basis. All I can speak to is that the Linden Lab viewer will allow you to do this. So Lyric asks, do we anticipate any issues in regard to inventory loss? We don't. I mean, obviously, we can't predict everything, but we do. In addition to Viewer Managed Marketplace, there has been work being done to help make sure that our inventory continues to be stable and not have any inventory loss issues going forward. So how much time will we have to migrate once VMM goes live? We will be giving you at least a month before we start the auto migrations. We're going to be in beta mode until the, so we've been addressing bug fixes, and we will be pushing the project viewer into the release process, and once that is in the released version, we'll be able to leave beta. Okay, Elizabeth, one more question. I've noticed that certain places I go, my inventory ceases to work due to whatever reason, as in I cannot equip things. These sorts of odd glitches ever have a chance of affecting my VMM deliveries? That I cannot answer. If you have you ever filed a JIRA on this, Elizabeth? I don't have the knowledge to be able to answer that question. If you filed a JIRA, can you point us to it? And if you haven't filed a JIRA, it would be great if you could file a JIRA with sort of an example scenario. And I can make sure that the correct people are taking a look at it. Yeah, if it's certain SIMs, that's helpful information because, yeah, and again, I am not familiar with these JIRAs, so if there's a specific JIRA that we can look at, or if there is some information you can provide, Elizabeth, that would be helpful. Katie asked, don't deliveries come out of your stored inventory on the server rather than what you're currently seeing in World in your inventory? It's the same inventory, Katie, with VMM. Will inventory loss affect listings? From Steve Void. So if inventory is lost in your listing, there could be a problem there. I mean, really, the overall goal is not to have any inventory loss, and we continue to work on that and make sure that this is not an issue for merchants. It's very, very rare for anything like this to happen, and we have not been seeing this very often at all. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that it would necessarily be a problem with VMM, but again, I am not an engineer who has deep insight into the way inventory works. Yes, if that's fair to say, Sarah. Well, thanks for the feedback, Chinray. We've been doing our best over the past year to make sure, well, a little over a year, to make sure that we're really communicating with our customers and getting their feedback and working closely with them on this. And obviously, we've done that before, though maybe not as publicly as we have in the recent year or year and a half. Okay, so we're at 11:45, and I probably should start closing this down since Oz has his meeting coming up shortly. As you all know, we have a variety of ways. You are being good. Thank you. We have a variety of ways to provide feedback, and as we are able to address items, we're gathering your feedback. I know we did a survey a while ago on search, and it took us a long time to get to that. We will be putting out some thing for you to try in the not too distant future, and that will help get your feedback and make sure that we took it and did what you were asking for, and we will continue to do our best to solicit feedback in a variety of ways to make changes, not just on the marketplace, but with Second Life in general. Thanks for the feedback. Okay, well, we really appreciate the number of people who attended. This is really fantastic, and we'll do our best to keep you informed and let you know what's going on. Stay tuned Monday for a viewer managed marketplace, Linden Bear, and we'll also be launching a way for merchants to volunteer to be the early adopters for the migration. Oh, you'll have to wait to see. And thanks, Jessica, for helping advertise this so we got people to come. We really appreciate it. Okay, well, I am going to take off, and thank you all so much. Bye.